I decided to install a Victron SmartShunt in my camper van to hopefully remove the guesswork out of managing the energy from my two 200 amp hour AGM batteries. Over the winter months up here on the west coast of Scotland, my 325 watt Panasonic HIT solar panel only delivers around 150 watt hours per day, so it's effectively only a trickle charger. What catalysed this SmartShunt purchase was the desire to charge my EcoFlow Delta 2 when possible, but more importantly to have the Webasto Evo 6 diesel heater running to keep any damp at bay and maintain the habitation area at least above freezing without damaging the AGM batteries. I recently fitted a Victron Battery Protect, and whilst this will cut off any load on the batteries at the critical 50% state of charge point, it does not allow me to predictably manage the energy use when, for example, I want to run the heater overnight without the Battery Protect cutting off the power. I bought the more recent IP65 version of the 500 amp SmartShunt, which has wires for primary and secondary battery monitoring hardwired to the unit, along with a cable for VE Direct. Whilst I don't need the IP65 waterproof capability for this install, it does mean that I can use it in a future setup if water or damp is an issue. Whilst the Victron Battery Protect is already attached to the battery positive output, the SmartShunt is attached to the battery negative. Before I cover the install, here's a quick overview of my power setup in the camper van. Apologies as there's no video for fitting and wiring the SmartShunt in place as the space was so small, but hopefully this photo sequence makes some sense. Obviously what I needed to do was to fit the SmartShunt between the battery terminal and the junction box. As is always the case when you come to do a job like this, the junction box cables were fitted with M8 connectors and the SmartShunt has 10M connectors. So I swapped the connector on the cable from the batteries for an M10 and made a jump cable for the SmartShunt to the junction box. I simply attached the VBAT Plus red wire to the in on the Smart Protect as this comes directly from the batteries. Set up the SmartShunt based on the official Victron video covering BMV and SmartShunt settings for a more accurate synchronization. As I have previously found with Victron, there seems to be a lack of information covering AGM batteries specifically. Indeed, in their video it's inferred, but not explicitly stated, that because they are a form of lead-acid battery, then the same rules apply. The first part of the video highlights the need to start from a known state of charge point and explains the settings based on using a mains charger, and then subsequently covers the difference using a solar charge controller. As soon as the charging cycle enters the float phase, the charger is only supporting load demands and has stopped charging the battery as it is fully charged. For the VC charged voltage, I set it at 0.24 volts lower than the float voltage as advised. I set IT, the tail current, to 4% as advised in the video and checked 10 minutes after the charger moved the battery into float to make sure the set IT value was slightly higher. I set the TC setting at 5 minutes as advised in the video, so the SmartShunt would have enough time to confirm that the float voltage had been achieved. Set the charge efficiency to 80% and the pull-out factor at 1.24 as advised. Having set the discharge flow at 50%, it's hopefully the same for my best guess setting for the Battery Protect. Once the sun is higher and daylight hours are longer, I'll base the synchronization settings on the solar charger, which the video recommends as follows: to set the VC to the absorption voltage minus 0.2 volts and the TC is set at 6%. In the meantime, I'll synchronize the SmartShunt every 2 weeks using the mains charger. The SmartShunt status, history and trends data in the Victron Connect app provides more than enough information for me to work with and is probably worth a separate video. The one concern I have about the quality of the data is based on the need to assume the battery capacity in the first instance, whether that is because of a reliance on the accuracy of the manufacturer's claims, or as in my case, when the batteries have been used for a couple of years. In my case, when the batteries were new, 50% of the stored energy would make 200 amp hours available to me. However, as I'm guessing that the capacity is now down to 85%, then in theory I only have half of 340 amp hours available. Either way, it's a guess, which means that any output by the SmartShunt is based on an arbitrary baseline. I'm not sure how to solve the problem other than by buying new batteries. But at least now I've got some idea of how much energy I have available, and I can hopefully fine-tune the battery capacity based on the voltage and current data from the SmartShunt as time goes by. It's all good.